Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists out of pointless things. Why are we flying by this pointless statue in Booty Bay? Because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is the food on the tables at the Great Mead Hall, which is the warrior class hall and the throne room for Odin. And I think my favorite thing about the food here is the actual plates and cups and bowls that they're in. They're like these wooden barrel-esque type of bowls and plates, and then the actual food itself is a little weird. There's like a mountain of mushrooms. There's like some, what looks like ash. I don't even know what's in there. I guess maybe it's rice or grains. There's a skull with a knife through it. I don't think anybody's eating that, although maybe somebody is. These are crazy Viking dudes. They got cheese. They got some weird shiny looking bread, or it might be steaks. I think maybe that is steaks or some sort of meat, but whatever it is, it looks shiny there. But then at a different part, it looks like there's some less shiny steaks. It might just be the lighting, but either way, then they got some flat looking potatoes that kind of just look like mushrooms. I actually thought they were mushrooms at first. And then they also got big kegs of ale, which this guy's getting very mad at. You know, maybe they ran out, they got to get another one, so he's just upset. But I think the actual feast going on is really cool. I think this room itself is really cool. And I think even though the food itself isn't really that appetizing, there is a lot of it. And it seems like they're enjoying it, so maybe it just tastes good. It just doesn't look that great. Either way, that's why I decided to put it at number 10. 9. Number 9 is the dinner party occurring outside of Darnassus, where they're serving these big blue pieces of cake. I don't know what this is. At first, I thought it was cake, and I was like, wait, is this like meat? It looks like some sort of blueberry dish. I have no idea what this is. I've been trying to figure it out, but I think it's cake or some sort of fruit pie. I don't know. It's it's confusing, but they're serving that, and then they're serving a bunch of just wine and, you know, whatever, alcohol, champagne, whatever that is. But the crazy thing here is that Talen's Sweet Song, who's the one throwing this party, is actually a homunculus. And if you don't know what a homunculus is, it is a type of undead construct that is so lifelike it is to be undetectable even by undead hunting experts such as Lillian Voss. And I mean, listen, for being a homunculus, she's throwing a great party. You know, she's got a whole bunch of drinks out here. You got this crazy food thing that I don't even know how they made it. There's got to be some sort of night elf magic going into that. But everybody seems to be having a great time. But this is one of the situations where it's more about the quality over the quantity of the food, because there's really not that much food here. It's just alcohol and then whatever this pie cake magical thing is. Plus, you don't really see many dinner parties happening in World of Warcraft, and that's why it's number 9. 8. Number 8 is the food at the Haven Cascades where Greedy Gessie is at. So the whole point here is that you get all this food for Greedy Gessie and then it summons them, and that's that. But the actual food on the tables at the Greedy Gessie area is really cool. I mean, this is the type of food that I would imagine a lot of, you know, night elves and druids would eat. It's a lot of fruit and vegetables, very vegetarian. I mean, you got watermelon slices, you got these different colored carrots, you got mushrooms that look a little better than the ones we just saw earlier. You got tomatoes, celery, grapes, you got your lettuce, you got radishes. Like, they got everything here. They even got instruments. They got a flute and a banjo. And I really like the containers too. They got like rock bowls and pitchers, and it's really just a nice area. And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? This would be a really nice thing to add to pointless top 10 food on tables, because I don't think there's many like this. There's a lot of big feasts and crazy stuff, but there's never really a nice little vegetarian feast. I don't know, but either way, Greedy Gessie just wants to eat it. I don't know why they're so greedy. Maybe they just give the bear like a couple watermelon slices and a carrot and it wants more. I don't know. Maybe they're not feeding Gessie enough. Maybe Gessie's not that greedy. Who knows? Either way, this is number 8. 7. Number 7 is the Karazhan Banquet Hall food, and the Karazhan Banquet Hall food is a little outdated, but it actually, I think, holds up pretty well. You've got this boar with an orange in its mouth and all the oranges all around it. I actually like the way the oranges look here, even if some of them look almost like sushi. It almost looks like an orange roll, like a literal sushi roll with an orange in it, right? Do you see? I think it's just the shape and how weird it looks. That's all I can see when I look at it. But you've got fish on a platter that also has oranges. They really just must have a surplus of oranges here. They got turkey legs, they got bananas and fruit like pears and apples. They got wine, although that is some bright red orange wine. That wouldn't surprise me if that's orange wine on top of it. This place is just citrus central. And then there's this guy who I think ate a little too fast and choked to death, but Surprisingly, he didn't choke on an orange. So that's a little weird. But I really do love the aesthetic of this place. I love the big stained glass windows with the light shining in. We really need to do a pointless top 10 stained glass windows, honestly, or even just windows in general. But I feel like stained glass windows could be their own thing. Overall, love the aesthetic of Karazhan, love the food on these tables, love the big tablecloths and everything about it, and the oranges, and that's why it's number 7. 6. Number 6 is the food on the tables in Dalaran, specifically the Legion Dalaran. And I was going to find some specific places, but I really just love so much stuff within Dalaran. So starting here, we have this like little cafe, and they have coffee and cupcakes, and they got wine. You got candles and books, although you're not really eating candles and books, but who knows? Maybe they're edible. We don't know. Have you tried eating them? That's what I thought. They have like a coffee espresso machine. Then if you go to the crazy wine and cheese place across the street, they got a bunch of crazy wine and cheeses. Who would have guessed? In fact, I think they got some of the widest variety of cheeses in World of Warcraft that I've seen. And those wine bottles with the cool inscriptions on them. And then over at the Horde Inn, they got a bunch of ribs and they got steaks and they got a plain strider, whatever, cooking in the background. And they got... apparently they stole that boar from Karazhan with some of the oranges. I mean, I really love just all the food that you can see on tables in Dalaran. Like, it really is just such a great contrast of all the different foods. And it's really just fun to go around and look at all of them. I would honestly recommend going and doing it for yourself. Because, I mean, obviously you can see them all in the video, but it's really fun, especially if you're somebody that enjoys the aesthetics and art of World of Warcraft, to just walk around and look at all the little things like the food on the tables. And that's why New Dalaran is number 6. 5. Number 5 is the Artisan Market in Valdrakken, and I love this place because I guess you could say the market aesthetic is very cool to me, and the way the food is laid out here is just really cool. You have the Cheese Dragon, who's actually from Pointless Top 10 Food Vendors, if you haven't seen that. But you have the Cheese Dragon with all his different cheeses here. You have the fish section with all the fish and the shrimp and the seafood. And you've got the roasts, and you have these dragon fruits and melons, and you have this floating fountain table of bread and things. I don't know what those are. And you got ribs and you got eggs. So some of the food we've actually seen quite a bit before, but I really just like the way that it's presented on these tables. Or I guess some of them aren't even tables. They're like kiosk type thing. Whatever. I'm counting them as tables. All right. I'm not being picky. This is a pointless list. It's a pointless series. It's a pointless everything. All right. I can do what I want. Anyway, that's why the food on the tables in the Artisan Market is number 5. 4. Number 4 is the food at Mistfall Village. And I didn't expect to find this much food at Mistfall Village. I thought it was going to be somewhere in like Valley of the Four Winds, but they have like numerous noodles. They got salmon. They got fried rice in Chinese takeout containers, which is kind of weird for World of Warcraft. They got an actual fish sandwich with like glowy-eyed fish on plates. They got fish hanging up on hooks. They got seafood in cages and buckets. Dude, this place has so much stuff. They got burgers. They got full slabs of ribs. They got big chunks of meat. They got steak. They got bags of rice. They got tea. They got watermelon slices. They got bread. They got dumplings. They got cans of soda or sparkling water, which I don't know how they carbonate it. Maybe they just use magic. I don't know, gnomish engineering or something, goblin engineering. But this place is probably one of the best places to eat in World of Warcraft. Like, no doubt. It's got so much food, so much variety, a great aesthetic, and I just love it here. And that's why it's number 4. 3. Number 3 is the reason that this Pointless Top 10 actually got uploaded a day late, and that is the Pilgrim's Bounty, because Pilgrim's Bounty didn't happen until Sunday, and normally I put these up on Saturday night, so I had to wait a little bit to show all the food on the tables at the Pilgrim's Bounty, but I think it's very worth it because it's got some of the best food. I mean, this is one of the events where it's all about cooking and eating and food fights and turkey hunting and all this stuff. You've got the spice bread stuffing, you've got the pumpkin pie, you got the cranberry chutney, you have the candied sweet potatoes, and you have the slow roasted turkey, and it's just all presented in a visually appealing fashion, I would say. I also love that there's just a giant axe that is being used to cut the turkey, and it's not even just at a local place. It's not like, oh, Durotar did that. They're all orcs. Like, literally everybody, like in the Undead place, they've done it. In Thunderbluff, like Dunmurrow, everybody just loves cutting stuff with axes, apparently. But honestly, my favorite thing on the table is the cornucopia, which is the big horn-looking thing, and it is apparently a symbol of plenty consisting of a goat's horn overflowing with flowers, fruit, and corn. Overall, love this stuff. Every year, I always look forward to at least doing this once, right? Just eating all the food, getting the buff, doing all the little things, and that's why the Pilgrim's Bounty tables are number 3. Number 2 is the Taste of Zandalar, which is in the port of Zuldazar. And, you know, they've got some tortillas. They got some stuff you can put on the tortillas, which is pretty cool. But that's not what this is about. This is about the giant pieces of meat that are just over the fire and these giant eggs that have been cracked into these big frying pans. These are probably some of my favorite food. I guess these aren't really tables. Some of it's like a pan or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's close enough, right? Like just the fact that there is this giant egg. This egg might be as big as a gnome's head. Like it's gigantic, right? There's like some trolls sitting on the floor eating meat. There's some trolls cooking with the tortillas and stuff like that. But the big story right here is the giant pieces of meat. I mean, that's a dinosaur leg. You look at that right there. That is a dinosaur leg, and that is a big dinosaur steak. They also just left the shell laying there. I don't know if that's very sanitary, but hey, you know what? I'm just here to look around. I'm not here to be the food inspector. Well, I kind of am inspecting the food, but not in that way. So overall, I really just love how unique this area is and how unique the food is compared to the rest of the stuff we've looked at. And that's why it's number 2. And number 1 is Borealis, and specifically the Tradewinds Market and Hook Point in Borealis, because they've got some of the best displays of food that I think are in World of Warcraft. You've got a wide variety of produce like corn and tomatoes and cabbage. You've got a bunch of different grains. You've got bread and cheese and apples. You've got peaches. You've got sausages and hanging pigs, which is a little crazy, but you know, it's realistic. You've got eggs and a chicken coop. They got the fish market where they actually toss the fish to each other, which I think is awesome. It's actually one of the reasons that I love this the most. I love the interaction. I know there's that like Seattle fish market that does that too. And there's a ton of different colored fish and they're all on the ice and they got the big chunks of ice there. I really just love the aesthetic of this place. I love the way the food looks and it gives me the best vibes. And that's why I put it at number 1, because I really do think if I had to pick one place to eat here with the food on the tables, it would be Borealis. And that's why it's number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, if you want to check out some more Pointless Top 10s, we just had Ancients last week to celebrate the whole Emerald Dream Patch. And if you want to see those food vendors I mentioned earlier, there's that one. Okay? Okay. See ya.